Buffs Nation, what is going on? I mean, Thanksgiving is tomorrow. Today's been a wonderful day. Really happy. I mean, I changed the title of this last second. We're calling it the panel party, baby. We got a ton of great people in that are going to hop in here. We got Rawhide Media for you and Lawrence Collins in the building. We are also streaming from Bird's channel. He's going to be in here as soon as he's home from work, which is exciting. But man, we got a lot to talk about. And I just want to get started by saying this, guys. Rawhide Media, Lawrence, it's been so great getting to know you guys. As I started this channel and then I stumbled upon, whether it's in the comments or Rawhide, your videos where you throw the animated buffalo on the side on the intro, man. I love that. It was like South Park. It was super awesome, man. Getting to know you guys throughout this whole thing, it's been wonderful. So thank you for being willing to discuss and laugh along with me, with little old me. I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. I appreciate. Like I said, I appreciate you, David, for just for having me on, man. I love your content, and I love hearing Lawrence's voice. You know what I'm saying? I'm enlightened every time.
Yeah, we learn a new word every time he comes on, right?
I know, right?
Every time.
I know.
Man, I love it. Well, we got a lot to talk about. I guess we can just go ahead and open up with like the breaking news, but I do we'll talk recruiting, of course, Lawrence. We need a beat on what's going on there, but also Rawhide, man. It didn't seem like your channel was interested at all yesterday. Hear about this Utah preview of how CU can get this win. It was like no, everybody clicked and nobody was interested in actually hearing you break it down. So, I mean, I want to hear a little bit of a breakdown, today for my birthday, right? We can do that.
Right. So, well, granted, I titled it. And just to be full disclosure, I got that somebody in one of my comments said I was capping about picking Colorado to beat Utah. And so I just used what he said to me in the title, right? I gave him credit too. I told him, man, I appreciate it. You gave me the title, but yeah, guys, what you got to understand is that those of you who's been listening to me for a while, I honestly I use Utah as an example of why I thought Colorado would do well in the Pac-12. Breaking down from the fact that 2 years ago, they was a top 10 team losing to a no ranked Florida, getting beat down. Then you came right back, you know what I'm saying, and won the Pac the last couple of years. So talking about the history of Utah, in addition to that being a G5 school, and they coming into the Pac and they just ran it. You know what I'm saying? It'd be the equivalent of a team like I would say UCF. They're headed to the Big 12, but let's just say they went to the SEC and started winning in the SEC, right? So we all know that wouldn't happen. So that being said, I was just like, the conference is not that good of a conference, and that's why I thought Colorado could compete this year. It wasn't so much that I thought Colorado, was all that in a bag of chips. That wasn't it. I did not think that the Pac-12 would, look as well as they look this season. Now, rolling into this game, I felt like it'd be hypocritical for me to come back and say, me crapping on Utah for over a year, and then they come back, and then I say, well, Utah's going to beat Colorado. I think that would have been very hypocritical. So I just had to stand, I had to stand on what I said. Thus I said Colorado beat Utah. Now, getting to the game. Colorado, if you all notice, they typically perform well against teams that's not prolific on the offensive side. I think me and Dave was talking before the UCLA game, and I know a lot of people raised their eyebrows. I said the Washington State game will be their most difficult game. I said that earlier, right? Because UCLA, they don't really score the ball well. Oregon State, they ain't about that life about scoring the ball really well. And also Utah. I mean, even if you look at Utah and what they've done this season, I think we all would agree that this season is not what Utah thought it was going to be. Now, granted, they lost a starting quarterback, But you know what I'm saying, scoring 24 points against Florida, only 20 points against Baylor. They only, hey, what's that? Webster, Weber State. I'm sorry, Weber State. They scored 31.
Yeah.
14 points against UCLA, 21 points against Oregon State, 34 points against Cal, 34 points against USC. Oregon, they didn't even score but 6. Arizona State, that was a good game for them. They hung 55. Washington, they hung 35, but you know Washington can't stop me, you, or Lawrence. And then Arizona, they played against a decent game and they scored 42. So throughout this season, Utah hadn't been, I don't mean to go this long, but Utah hadn't shown to me that they were prolific in scoring. So I thought that matched up well with Colorado. You know what I'm saying? Colorado defense is bad. So if you don't score well, that means that you're going to kind of balance out. And I did not think Colorado offense would turn into what it turned into at the time that I made that statement. So I said Colorado has a good chance, a great chance of beating Utah. Unfortunately, it looks like the team kind of gave up last game. And I'm going to stand on it, bro. I mean, they come in tomorrow. If they play, like, Rand, I'm reaching, man. Trust me, I'm reaching. If they come in tomorrow, right, try to defend, make an attempt to adjust offensive line calls as far as helping the offensive line help block. If they come in and try at least try to run the ball since Shadour's hurt, maybe they, you know what I'm saying, they'll let that, what I believe they're trying to do, go and actually try to call a pretty balanced game. I'm thinking that Colorado could win. I'm putting that out there. I think they could win. Granted, I ain't putting, straight up. I am gonna bet on the game. That's because of the odds, but I get it, guys. If y'all get on me and say, "Okay, Raw, you don't know what you're talking about," I ain't gonna argue. You know what I'm saying? Because I can't argue that.
I like how you're standing firm, though. It was a great breakdown. It was a great breakdown. Now, Lawrence, are you buying or are you selling?
Go eat me up, Lawrence.
So I would preface by saying this: if Colorado was motivated with the talent that they have on the roster, I would have liked their chances to go into Utah and be competitive. But I honestly think they checked out for the season after last game's performance. So, yeah, we had a lot of players on the injury list due to the flu or what have you, but nevertheless, the effort wasn't there. And I don't have a reason to believe why it would be there for the last game of the year either. So I don't think it's going to be a competitive game at all. I would be surprised, honestly, if the ones play, especially because there's no, you're not playing for a bowl game. What are you playing for at this point? Just to pass stats?
So, I guess we could still be technically playing for a bowl game, right?
Well, technically, but not really. So, yeah, I just don't see it being – I don't think the premier talent left on a roster is going to be in the game enough to showcase and be competitive enough to win in Utah. So, I honestly think I wouldn't be surprised if it's another a game similar to what we just saw at Washington State up in Pullman, if the same result. And we're just looking forward to next year at this point. I mean, we have lame duck for intensive purposes, lame duck coordinators on the staff, analysts on the staff. So what is the motivation for CU to give 100% effort at this point? When, what are you playing for? That's the way I look at it. On paper and then in the media leading up to the game, of course, Coach Prime is going to say, yeah, we're still in it. We want to win. But in reality, I just don't see it. So that's my prediction. That's just me. I don't think they're going to be competitive in this game at all because they don't have the motivation. I think it showed in the last game that the motivation wasn't there. They're pretty much looking for 2024 season.
I think that was what was most disappointing about last week, man.
Yeah.
Wasn't that the fact that we lost, but the fashion in which it happened.
Yeah.
Bird, thank you so much for joining, man. I appreciate you. It means a lot for you to join today. But we haven't touched on the Warren Sapp news. We will here in just a minute, but Rawhide, I mean, he's standing firm on this. CU, and I guess, as long as Shore plays, gonna go in there, Salt Lake City gonna get that win. Are you buying or are you selling, man? What are the Buffs gonna do this week?
Man, it's gonna be interesting, dog. I mean, it's gonna be tough. Hopefully Shedeur plays. That's the only shot we have to even win this ball game, even beating this ball, let alone win it, right? But I mean, it's gonna be tough. Hopefully, we can get some guys to come out there and just still play to a high level, even though, of course, you're technically not really playing for nothing in a sense. But I mean, you always playing for film. I mean, Eye in the Sky don't lie. You always playing for tape. Even if guys are, maybe thinking about going to this portal or maybe trying to go to the next level. I mean, you always putting something on film. So, I mean, hopefully guys go out there and compete at a high level. We can play at a level where we can possibly win this game. But it's going to be tough playing on the road. I don't want to see a blowout. I mean, even if we don't win, that's not going to get me by 40. I mean, at the end of the day. But it's going to be tough. I don't think we pull it out, but I think we can play a competitive game, though.
Man, if this is true, Weaver and Travis got the flu.
Oh, it's a wrap. Oh, I'd say that's yeah, we in trouble then.
Yeah, you still got players under the weather, and then just on top of just being under the weather or injury or whatever the case may be, what's the motivation? I mean, you can Coach Prime go in there and give his rah-rah speeches, but what is the motivation at this point of the season with the record being what it is at this point? And it's unfortunate, but that's where we are at this point of the season. Either, with the last couple games of the year, you're either motivated or you're not. And, I just don't think that enough of the key players are going to have motivation to go into Utah, a tough environment, and be competitive to pull a game out. But, that's not to say that, when the game is over going into next season that, this team isn't going to get turned around. And it'll be better days to come as CU moves into the Big 12. But I just, I just don't see it where CU is right now for that to happen. Like I said, if it was talent for talent, then CU was 100%, and the season may not have gone. A couple of the games have gone the other direction. We had a winning record, and we're planning to go 8-4, or, finish the season strong. I can see the motivation there, but not the way things are right now, especially if that's true about, key players battling the flu bug. Why would you even put them out there at that point?
Yeah, I agree with you. No point even playing them.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Everything you all saying is true. I get, I'm saying? I can't even, there is no debating any of that. I just, I'm standing on Utah's neck because I've been on their neck for a long time. And I think I'd be a big hypocrite if I didn't. God, think about this for a second. If you don't mind if I, get on here and get on my soapbox a little bit more, man. We do understand that. I think the majority of the country has always deemed the Pac-12 being the weakest of the Power Five.
Yes.
Saying for example, because there was this one channel, not like independent creators like us. It's a whole. Well, forget it. You don't mind me saying locked on, do you, Dave?
Oh no, that's totally fine.
All right, so you got my man here, right? And some of the things that he was saying, which it was true about the offensive line. And my biggest argument, if you all listen to my biggest argument, all was, for example, the entire conference of the Pac-12 only put 3 people in the NFL. And that was 1 in the second round and 2 in the 7th. And if you're a 7th round draft pick, you might as well you would almost prefer not to be drafted at all. So you can go pick your spot to get the best opportunity. So, I looked at that. I looked from that perspective. I said, the offensive line, whether they're good, whether they're not good, they're not that bad because they're not playing in the conference that's really worried about offensive line play, period. But I never in my life thought you could play that bad on the offensive line. I never in my life thought that. You see what I'm saying? And would y'all agree if that offensive line, let's say that offensive line was, I think how many sacks you got? What do you got? How many got? 52?
I think 52, something like that. Yeah.
If they was able to protect him to 30, which is still a lot, yeah, would y'all agree they could have won at least 2 more games?
I'm buying that.
You see what I'm
Yes.
saying? So it wasn't even because they didn't lose. I never watched this game, and I said watched Colorado play except for a few games. I thought they never would beat USC or Oregon because there's a big difference in talent. But if you look through these games, I'm not going to be super homerism. They could have beat Arizona. I think we can agree to that. If that offensive line had showed up, they could have made a better game of Washington State. You see what I'm saying? They should have beat Oregon. So there's 3 games. No, I mean Oregon State. No. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I apologize. Stanford. I'm Stanford. I apologize.
Yeah.
They should have beat Stanford, right? So how I looked at it overall, because I never really was hanging my hat on all the talent that Colorado has. I was hanging my hat on the type of competition that they were going against. I underestimated the Pack this year. I give you that, but that offensive line, man, you know what I mean? And the fact you letting listen, hear me out. You're letting Utah run through your conference, and they average recruiting rating over the last 3 years. I don't have it right in front of me. Is around a 30. I mean, 30s and 40s, right?
Yeah.
That ain't premier talent, guys. That's mid tier.
It's not premier talent, but it's player development.
They are developing, but guess what though? If Utah ran up, let's say now, conference champions are conference champions,
and they got a 35-year-old quarterback.
Right. If Utah had ran up against
year.
the other conference champions, they would have got smashed. It'd have been TCU all over again. You see what I'm saying? They developed talent like you say. Oh my God, I'm going so long. I apologize, guys. But you getting beat. You top 10 and you getting beat by Florida, guys. Florida, sorry, they were terrible. So that's where I came up with a lot of them. You know what I'm saying? My predictions on it, and I truly believe if that offensive line is just a smidget better, a few different play calls, we wouldn't be talking about a team that's not going to a bowl. That wouldn't even be a conversation. But anyway, y'all go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead,
and Rawhide. Oh, were you gonna say something, Bird?
Yeah, I mean, I agree as far as offensive line play. I mean, we've seen it time in and time at this point, watching every game, seeing Shedeur get sacked left and right. I mean, we definitely will be playing the bowl game. We don't even have to have the best offensive line in the conference. We had the 5th best offensive line in the bowl game right now, right? So I mean, the struggles are obviously there, but I agree. I mean, Utah is not this juggernaut that they're not the best team we played. No, they're probably not the second best team we played all year, right? So I mean, it's a winnable ball game, but I mean, if our guys don't show up, I mean, it's also a game that we can get ran off the field.
Yeah, we got to be more physical. I mean, ESPN loves us, right? ESPN loves us. They had a chance to take this game, and they said, "Nah, man, we can kick that over to the Pac-12 network." And here I am with my 4th Fubo free trial that I'm running throughout the college football season to make sure that I'm getting the game on Saturday. But man, yeah, it's. I guess we can circle back to this because there are some things I still want to talk about in terms of the end of season stuff, but I want to hear you guys' thoughts on this. Warren Sapp coming to the coaching staff. He tweets out reinforcements on the way. How are you guys feeling about this? Coach Prime said he's coming on as a football coach. I would assume that means Sal is moving into a analyst role or just retiring. I don't know. But Bird, Lawrence, Raw, I want to hear your thoughts.
I mean, for me, I think it's huge. I mean, you add a Hall of Famer to your staff, somebody like Warren Sapp, who's a household name. Everyone knows Warren Sapp when you hear the name, right? There's only one. So I feel like it's huge for recruiting now. We haven't seen a resume as far as coaching, right? Can he coach at this level, right? Can he help develop talent, right? Can he connect with his players? Those are the things we're gonna have to see and kind of learn on the fly. But I mean, his football IQ definitely there. So I mean, I feel like this is a great pickup. It can't be any worse in a sense. I don't think we'll like deteriorate in a sense, right? I don't think we'll go back.
Yeah.
So I feel like it'll help with recruiting a lot for sure. And I think it's a really good move. I think it's a good.
I'll just second that. we heard rumblings about it earlier in the year, and that with the confirmation today, that's going to be huge. Along with Bird's eye view on the situation. In addition to that, recruiting. Will he be able to recruit? Because that was also a deficiency of this CU Buff team this year as well. The offensive line and the interior defensive line as well. We didn't really get production out of the interior defensive line. So will he be able to recruit? I would imagine so if he's joining the staff, that he's going to bring some recruits out of the Florida area with him once he comes aboard officially next season. So, as long as that's going to be just as essential as the player developmental piece. We know he has the acumen being a Hall of Famer. He's going to be, and that naturally would probably lead to him being an effective coach and a developer of talent. But going forward, if he's going to be on staff the next couple of seasons, he's going to have to be able to recruit the premier interior defensive lineman as well. So, we'll see how that plays out as well. But I mean, like what Birdseye said, it can't get any worse than what we have on the roster currently, because we didn't really get that much production out of the interior defensive line this year. We did have some, spot plays here and there from Amari McNeil. Bishop Thomas did flash every now and then, but I can, on the other end of that, Shane Cokes and Leonard Payne were, average at best. So will he be able to recruit some premier interior defensive linemen, and the ones that are already on the way, will he be able to develop those into impact players going forward? That's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah. I think I agree with Bird. I think I agree with Lawrence. Just pick back also on what Lawrence talked about. I guess what scares me the most is about recruiting. I think we all can agree that's a dirty job as far as, the type of, when it comes to coaching, recruiting is plumbing. Let's just call it what it is, bro. Talking to recruits, getting a hold of them all the time, staying in touch, showing that you care. Dude. And that's the only thing I worry about when you get a guy like a Warren Sapp, right? Granted, I think he can instill a different type of mentality on that defensive line, get them tougher, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
But I don't know, him taking a coaching slot, because we all know you only get 10. Is he going to put the type of time in that is required to recruit guys and to get them in your program? Because I think at this level, your name holds weight. Warren Sapp. You go to a kid, Warren Sapp. Yeah, I'm going to see Colorado. I'm going because it's Warren Sapp. But after that, is there any substance after that? You see what I'm saying? Like, you may get a Brent Bartolone, or you may get another guy for somewhere else, right? That's a assistant coach that ain't got the name or the cachet, but he calling every day. He responding to tweets every day. You see what I'm saying? Is Warren Sapp gonna do that? And not just be that not be just the guy that everybody want to come see and talk to, rub shoulders with, and then after you're done with that, we take our pictures. My mom and dad take pictures. They love Warren Sapp. Then they go home. That's the only thing I worry about.
Am I putting like too high of expectation on, like, he's coming on to staff here? I'm expecting him to be like right up there with Nick Williams in terms of like his recruiting power and what he should be bringing to the roster. I don't know. TBD.
We'll see. Because like I said, what if Coach Prime is talking about him coming and making that announcement, that is a definite thing, I would have to imagine that there are 2 or 3 guys that they already targeted that are locked in with Warren Sapp that are going to come with them. So are those going to be impact players? And then the players that are already on the roster on the interior defensive line, are they going to take a step up and become great? Like I said, we have good showings this year from Amari McNeil and flashes from Bishop Thomas. Is he going to take those 2 players to the next level and then bring some more in and maybe create a tight pipeline of, okay, this is where I want to go because I'm an interior defensive lineman. I want to go to CU because they've developed Amari McNeil and made him an NFL player, and Bishop Thomas an NFL player, and whatever else, whatever other defensive tackles they're able to get. Coach Sapp has developed those to NFL player. So that remains to be seen. A lot of it is still unknown, but I mean, to Bird's eye point, can't be worse than the output this year. And that's not a knock on Coach Sal by any stretch. It's just the limited talent he had to work with, because I think he did maximize the talent for what he had on the roster, but it just wasn't a strength on the team throughout the season. It just had flashes here and there.
No doubt. And I guess on the flip side, I haven't asked you guys any of this either. So, and if y'all got any other things that you want to talk on, like, let's take this thing wherever it goes. Okay, guys. But in terms of Bird, like, is there anybody on your mind right now, or Lawrence, man, that we should be targeting for offensive line coach, offensive coordinator? Rawhide and I have talked about this quite a bit over the last few weeks, but if we're bringing in somebody like Warren Sapp, I think that's very exciting. I can see the potential in this thing. And I spoke with Coach Hayes on Chico's show earlier today, and being a South Florida guy, he actually thinks that it's a really good hire. And he thinks and he says that Warren Sapp can coach. So that's great. We'll have to see what he can do on the recruiting front. But in terms of the offensive line, offensive coordinator, how do you guys see you filling those roles?
I mean, I feel like those two are huge hires. They're two of the biggest hires that Coach Prime is going to make, for sure, without question. Maybe you can get 2 in 1. You may be able to get offensive coordinator, also the coach offensive line. Well, you may be able to get that. But even if not, if you have to get 2 and 2, I mean, of course, the name Byron Leftwich is the forefront of, it seems like, what everyone wants. I mean, if you get Leftwich, I mean, you got something for sure. I mean, he's proven it at the highest of levels. But as far as the offensive line coach, I'm hoping we can get someone that can also connect with the players to the point, because I didn't see a lot of communication on the offensive line. I think that hurt our offensive line. It was a lot of times where it just seemed like guys were confused, and everyone's turning around each other after Shador was on the ground. Everyone's looking at each other like, what's going on? So, I mean, I just want a guy that's going to be able to come in and get our guys on the same page. I mean, I know it's tough. The offensive line has to be one cohesive unit. But the communication key is huge, right? And we're going to have some offensive linemen that are going to be talented. I mean, we can get a Tyler Brown back. We can get some guys in. But, I mean, we have to get a coach that can get them to gel as one unit. And if we don't get that, I mean, we may not see 52 sacks. But, I mean, 35, 40 isn't good either.
I totally agree. I totally agree with you. Don't ask me about the offensive line coach who I think it should pick, because I'm just be straight up. I honestly don't even know. You know what I'm saying? Because they hit or miss. I've seen teams go grab this offensive line coach because they think he got a good history, and they get to that college and they were terrible. I.e., Texas A&M. Then I get, you see some people, they offensive line off the chain, and you don't even know who the offensive line coach name is. You see what I'm saying? So I think talent, and you all probably gonna hear, as long as we, the more we be on the show, the more I'm talking, you'll see that I am big on recruiting, because I think that's 65 to 75% of the battle is talent in college football. And whoever they get, I hope they can go out and get some guys that got at least have enough talent to show up and show out. Also, we ain't touched on this. I just want to see them develop somebody. I am thoroughly afraid if they come with 5 new offensive linemen next year. That scares me, because that says that they didn't develop what they had. We could say that they don't have any talent at all, but you could also end up being something similar to what you got this year. Because what you'll say is you get 5 new one, they may possess some talent. The first thing they ain't working right. What are we gonna say? Well, they need some time to gel and work together, because that's generally what they say with everybody, NFL, whatever the case may be. They need some time to gel. I want people that's been in the program to be able to, take that next step.
Yes. Yeah, that's why I honestly don't want, too many guys of this line to leave. Am I crazy? We need to develop some of these guys. What I'm going to be concerned about, though, is if we're starting from scratch again. pretty much. Again, can it get any worse than this year? Well, I mean, I didn't see it getting this bad this year, So man, I don't even know. But I do say, I also want to see some offensive linemen come here. And again, we are getting reinforcements with Tyler Brown, David Conner, but man, that are gonna, poke a guy in the eye. That's gonna stick up for the quarterback, man. I know Prime called those guys out, for lack of doing that. And we never really saw that type of tenacity afterwards. I think that maybe in the Nebraska game, I think Sy'veon Washington, got a personal foul for a late hit or unnecessary roughness to do something like that. But that's the last time I can think of the offensive line stepping up and really trying to physically intimidate or defend what was going on with the quarterback. But yeah, y'all speak up.
So one thing I would say about that, first about who should be the OC and who should be the offensive line coach. I won't throw a name out there because I think the decision has already been made and has been made for some time now. So like I said, we talked about this before, David, when we were talking about recruits, namely Jordan Seaton and some of the big names out there, Bryce Underwood, for example. If you want to have a chance at big time 5-star or high caliber players like that, you have to have a game plan going forward. And when they're, in spite of their animosity with Sean Lewis losing his play calling duties and O'Boyle, being rumored to be out on the outs as well, you had players visiting CU after that. I guarantee you that they were told the game plan going forward. There was no question about the direction going forward. So I'm sure those players who are coming in, who may be silent commits or maybe on the fence, they know the game plan, and I think CU already has a game plan going forward for who's going to be the offensive line coach, the offensive coordinator, and whatever other coach, assistant coach may be on the outs that we don't know about. That replacement has already been filled, in my opinion. So to come up with a name of this school and that school, I think personally that those decisions have already been made. We just don't know about them. It's because the season hasn't concluded yet, but we will know about them, in my opinion, immediately after the conclusion of that Utah game, probably the next day, or if not Monday at the latest, because I think a lot of news is going to happen, not only at CU, but across the nation with firings and, coaches being named as replacements here. For example, Michigan State. I think Michigan State is going to name their head coach Monday. And
who's it going to be? You think it's going to be Jonathan Smith?
Jonathan Smith is their preferred candidate. So honestly, it's his job to lose. If he wants to take the job, it's his. Now, I've also heard that Oregon State is talking about a contract extension. A lot of times they use these interviews just to get an extension at their existing school. He played for Oregon State, so he may want to stick it out there and just get some more money. But from what I understand, the job is his to lose. So if he doesn't want it, they'll go to the next candidate, which I'm hearing is going to be Mike Elko from Duke. Those are the top two guys. And then they have a third candidate, Candle, who's the head coach of University of Toledo. So we'll see what happens. But from what I understand, it was just announced today that they're pretty much full steam ahead on Jonathan Smith, is whether or not he wants to accept the job. But either way it go, I think they're going to name a replacement head coach on Monday. So that's something we got to remember, that we're approaching the portal. We're approaching early signing day. So these decisions as far as personnel and coaches and things like that, they have to be finalized well in advance of the conclusion of the regular college football season. So that's my thing on it. I think the decision has been made weeks ago on who's going to replace Sean Lewis and O'Boyle and whoever else is going to leave. Those replacements have already been decided because that's what you have to do in this landscape. So I think as far as the offensive line woes are concerned, I think we probably will see 5 new starters going into the 24 season. What was lacking this season was depth and depth to compete with the 5 starters that we had in place.
Yeah.
So I think that's what's going to be the biggest change from the offensive line going forward. We're going to have depth. So instead of having, okay, we have to put this particular player at left tackle because we don't have anyone pushing him. We don't have 3 left tackles. We only have 1. And we have a guy we can make perhaps plug there, but we don't have 3 true, definite, high caliber left tackles to compete for a job in the fall and the summer to see who's going to win out. Our center, Van Wells, he wasn't pushed. So I think he actually played down a lot of times because who's going to replace him? He was replaced due to injury with Zelinski's one game, but we knew he was a freshman. He wasn't really pushed for his role on the team. So I think
should never been put out there, man. He should have never been put out there. Bailey's played center in the past. I don't know why they didn't just move Bailey.
Not as a center, but maybe as a guard and maybe, in 6 lineman sets like they did this last. I don't think they did at Washington State, but the game before that they had Zelinski's as like an extra tackle in a 6 lineman imbalanced line. So maybe in situations like that, and gradually work him into the lineup. But a true freshman center, that's rough. I know Van Wells played it, but it's still very difficult. So I think that's what we're going to see going forward. They're going to get some more linemen added to this roster, and they're going to push whoever was the starter in 23. And it could be very well that we wind up the 5 best guys that we have are going to be 5 different guys from what we saw in 2023. And could you argue against that? Like, do we have one offensive lineman that you could say, you know what, this person proved themselves no matter what, that they should start in 2024? I don't think so. So
no,
with talented competition, I think it's going to play itself out that we see 5 new linemen starting back there with Shedeur next season.
Mm-hmm.
No, I can agree with that for sure. I think one of those guys is going to be the Isaiah Walker kid, the JUCO kid that we got coming in. He's a number 2 offensive tackle in JUCO right now. I think he's going to be one of those plug and play guys that's going to come in and definitely compete and, like you said, motivate guys and push guys right away. And that could be our left tackle because we got a huge hole to fill, right, and left tackle to protect Shedeur Sanders' blind side. Kind of what Raha was saying as far as like developing talent, I would love to see them be able to develop Sy'veon Washington. I mean, you've seen Coach Prime mention that he's a pro. Coach Prime has seen something, Coach, he's just not going to say that you're a pro, right? So, I mean, I feel like that's one of those type of guys where he has the body. He can move for this size. We've seen him do it at Kent State. I mean, that Kent State film is good. I mean, now this year he dealt with injuries. He had a lot of stuff going on. But I feel like he's one of those guys that we could possibly develop. And like to Raha's point, could see like, okay, I developed this kid. Now he developed that CU and turned into a pro offensive lineman. And like I said, hopefully we can bring in a few more guys. If we can get Seaton, I mean, he's another one of those like plug and play type of guys. But this offensive line could be completely different, and they just got to gel. As long as they gel, then we'll be fine. But if not, we're going to be sitting right back here the same like we are right now.
That's true.
Hey guys, y'all know what? It's kind of on a tangent a little bit, but kind of what we talking about. When this guy got fired, I'm gonna mention this thing because I don't talk about coaches, but this gentleman I'm about to name, he got fired from his job, and I really wanted Coach Prime to. I would have loved him to see him at CU. Granted, he didn't go there. And it's Navy's ex-coach Ken. What's that name? Matalo. He was the head coach in Navy. I really wanted Coach Prime to look at this guy. You get some of that West Coast recruiting. You also open the doors to a lot of other homes. You know what I'm saying? That's not represented well on the team. Because a lot of those guys, you know what I'm saying, those Polynesian guys or Samoan guys, they tend to go to Utah, USC, you know what I'm saying, a lot of those West Coast schools. I think I really wanted him to take a look at him. He currently right now, he's not even coaching. He's at UCLA, director of leadership. And if Chip Kelly, you know what I'm saying, he moves on, quite honestly, I would rather have him than Chip Kelly. You can make it as an OC because he coached the offensive line. He was assistant head coach and offensive line coach at Navy from 2002 to 2007. I don't know. I just threw that out there. Right, granted, it didn't hit on.
I think we could use that military intensity.
Well, that right, discipline, and you know what I'm saying, it's gonna open up some doors. You see what I'm saying? So I would have loved them to had taken a look at him before he filled out his staff. I don't know. I mean, we can sit and say any coach, right? But I don't. You know, I just that's what I was thinking.
Lawrence,
Like I
what's your
said,
beat on like?
Go ahead.
Go ahead, man.
No, I was saying, yeah, just to piggyback on what Ross said, we can say any coach, but in reality, I think the decision has been made.
Right.
It's been
You're
made
probably right.
because if you still have yet to make that decision at this point, they are in trouble. They're not going to get these top players, because they're going to go to a more stable program. So, and Coach Prime knows that. So, I mean, I think that decision has been made. Whoever it is, I just hope that we can only hope that it's the right decision going forward, which will remain to be seen until we see the product on the field next season.
Lawrence, what would you see as like their? No, you probably don't want to drop names or anything like that, but like the type of philosophy, the type of scheme, the type of system, is it going to be something similar to what we've seen this year? A drastic change? Are we going to use 12 personnel? Are we going to get a tight end?
I don't think it's going to be a drastic change. I would say because it's Shadour's last year, offensively, it's going to be a scheme that we saw him most successful. And we saw him most successful running Brett Barnoloni's offense his last year at JSU. So I think it's going to be an offense similar to that. That offense was balanced. They did use a lot of 3 and 4 wide out, but they also ran the ball considerably as well. I mean, you had sy'veon Wilkerson amass over 1,000 yards in 8 games. So I think Shedeur was only sacked 23 times last year as well. So, you take a good offensive line and good skill players, good running game. I think we are going to see an offense similar to that. Whoever the coordinator is going to be next season going forward, and the personnel, offensive line personnel is going to reflect that as well. I think the skill players are already there. Obviously, we're a little deficient at tight end. So, again, I know Coach Prime knows the areas of deficiencies. He's going to load up on offensive lineman, defensive lineman. He's going to get up some tight ends in this cycle as well. So I'm not afraid. I'm not worried about the areas that they're pretty much deficient at right now. I think they're going to load up on those heavily in this offseason cycle. But that's what I expect to see, an offense similar to what we saw last year at JSU.
Makes sense. Now, Bodie's coming in here with a super chat. Thank you so much. That means a lot. One of our day ones. Hey, guys, what do you think about Chip Kelly coming for the OC job? Now, this is kind of interesting because it was like the 24/7 beat reporter for UCLA said last week that they expect him to be fired.
Yep.
Then they go out and just roll over USC. Has he saved his job? I want to get your guys' takes on this before I comment on how I feel like he might be in terms of fit-wise on the staff.
I mean, I feel like fit-wise, I wouldn't mind the fit, honestly. You bring in someone that has the pedigree that Chip Kelly has and that can teach offense. He's done it at the highest level. I wouldn't mind it. I don't think he changes up too much. To Lawrence's point, I don't think he changes up too much. He's going to work with what Shedeur Sanders is strongest at, and he's going to put him in position to be successful. I actually like it. Also off the field as well, because he's done a lot of things when it comes to like the nutritional aspect and like the training aspect that I know he brought from Philly as well. But that USC win is interesting because he could have saved his job there, and like you said, someone put out that it's a possibility he's out of the door, and a lot of times those situations are already made, even if you again. Yeah. So I mean, he could be on the way out the door. I don't think that win may have saved him in a sense, but it didn't hurt him at all, right? It may get the conversation going back. Well, should we let him go? We're just gonna send him out of the door, right? So that conversation may be held. But I like the fit. I don't think it'll be a bad fit. I think it'll be actually a good fit.
I don't think he's going to get fired. So I won't even as far as the fit, I agree with what Bird's Eye View said. I like a lot of the things that he would have to offer in complementing Shador's skill set if he were to come over. But if he were to lose his job, which I don't think he is going to lose it at this point, because who else is? I mean, you have to get better if you replace Chip Kelly, and he's about to win 8 games with so talent for the most part. He has a dominant defense, but so talent on offense. So I think he kept his job, and I see him there for the foreseeable future. But if he were to lose that job, and I think we talked about this before, Dave, what's his motivation at that point? Does he want another head coaching gig? Does he want to run a show and still have his Chip Kelly offense at a school like a Boise State that has an available position? Or is he okay with being the offensive coordinator? I think if he were to lose his job, he may want to take a year or two off and go in the booth and call games at Fox or whatever network before he jumps right back into coaching like they often do. So, I see the pros if he were to become available as the offensive coordinator. But like I said, I think at this juncture, offensive coordinator, offensive line coach has already been established going for it. And being that I don't think Chip Kelly is going to lose his job at this point, just my personal opinion, I don't think it's going to be him. So that's just my thought on it. I think it's going to be at UCLA next year and beyond for that matter.
Yeah, I know I agree with Bird also as far as how it looks on the program and all those positive attributes. Yeah, I don't know about it, saying if he does get fired, saying I'm sorry. What worries me the most about a coaching staff is when you get so many big personalities, right, and people that's validated. And I prefer coaching. Like if you are a new coach like Coach Prime or anybody else, I think you should get one guy that has a lot of head coaching experience, and you need 8 hungries. It worries me about a staff made up of Coach Prime, arrogant Chip Kelly. Let's call it what it is. This ain't me talking. This is what the people that deal with him talk. And he don't like to recruit. That we've known that. You get a Chip Kelly, then you come with an NFL guy like Warren Sapp. And Coach Prime already said Warren Sapp, he ain't got to put all his time in. He could be gone at noon. So you lose some hungriness. You see what I'm saying about doing the little things. It's kind of remind me of the Lakers when they picked up Russell Westbrook. I mean, how many dudes diving for balls? You can't have 4 guys out there that ain't gonna dive for no balls. You know what I'm saying? Somebody got to scrape their knees up. You see what I'm saying? Take those cherries on their shoulders and all that. So when you put all that talent on the coaching staff, it seems like, I don't know, I'm concerned about the flow. You see what I'm saying? I'm concerned about the flow. I even think it was Mike Tomlin. He dealt with that at one point. So Chip Kelly be cool. You can't lose with his football knowledge and all that. If that's strictly what we're talking about, I think it would be a decent deal if by chance it would happen. My question is, who's going to do all the little things? Yeah. Let's look at the special teams right now. They ain't got a special teams coach. Let's call it what. No, they don't have an official special teams coach. They got an analyst that does special teams stuff. You see what I'm saying? So, bro, and we all know how bad
does special team stuff. Is anything on special teams actually being done? Do we know that? Have we seen that in the well-off videos?
I mean, because technically analysts can't coach. And how many times have y'all seen Trev out there coaching the special teams on them videos? You ain't seen it. Think about that. You have never seen Trevor coach. Think about that on them well-off. Never seen it. You see it every other coach. And that's actually a phase of the game. That's 1/3 the phases of the game.
Yeah.
I just,
I'm almost certain that'll be addressed in the offseason, though, Rojas.
They better.
Oh, man.
I mean,
can Warren Sapp coach special teams too?
I'm certain that's going to be addressed. That position will be addressed.
They need it, bro.
I haven't gotten my email yet. I haven't been reached out to on Twitter. Are you sure they filled that vacancy yet? I'm ready to coach the special teams unit.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, Tell me something, guys. So if they bring on a special teams coach, like you said, Lawrence, they bring on Warren Sapp, right? Who's going to be at what coaching spot? What do y'all think?
You mean you say what you mean?
You only got 10. You only got 10, right?
Gotcha. Okay.
So if you bring on Warren Sapp, you bring on a special teams coach, how this 10 gonna be filled out? What do y'all think?
They may not bring on an official special teams coach, but they may have that person tagged as an analyst like they do Trevor. But that person is going to have special teams experience, significant special teams experience. I think that's how they'll do that. They may not be an official coach since you only can have 10. I'm not even sold that Warren Sapp is going to be an official coach. He said he's going to be on board, but I think it's possible for him to be an analyst and be, there with the team on a daily basis before he actually officially makes him a coach. Because, like you said, you only have 10 spots. So
he can't recruit though if he's an analyst, right? Like he can't go on visits and things like that.
I don't think he can have contact with the players. Like it's a limit to the contact he can have with the players at the university. But when they have meetings and stuff like that, like for example, when they the analyst they have right now who's calling the plays, Pat Shermer, you still would see him like going into the meeting rooms and stuff like that prior to him calling the plays. And when they were practicing, you would still see him on the sideline. Hey, Shedeur, blah, blah, blah. Good. So it's just a certain amount of contact they can or cannot have with them game day. But I think throughout the week and stuff like that, you can, do more. So it's going to be worked out. But what I'm trying to say is that I don't think Trevor is going to be in charge of special teams in 2024 because that team has been atrocious the majority of the season, going back to spring ball. And if that hasn't shown improvement, which it hasn't, there's going to be changes made to a group that has not shown any ounce of improvement throughout the season. Go ahead, Birdseye.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not sure who is technically going to get like demoted in a sense, because I mean, you think it's not going to be Coach Hart. It won't be Coach Kelly, Coach Williams. Of course, we're going to replace Coach O'Boyle, so that's going to be a spot that's going to get filled. Same with Coach Sal, right? So it won't be neither one of those two. Will it be Coach Bartoloni? I mean, he's a receivers coach. Are you going to do you demote him? Same thing with what Coach Mathis, the DB's coach. I mean, who gets demoted in that sense, right? Right, Coach Brew, the tight ends coach. Like that. I mean, I don't see none of those guys getting demoted at all.
Which he is demoted now. Coach Brew is an analyst now. So I think
what?
Yeah,
he did.
When was this announced? Am I late to the party with this?
When they made the move with
Sherm
becoming the office, the play caller.
Yeah,
that was the demotion they made. They made Brew an analyst as a result. So will that continue in the 24 season, or would he get his official coaching job?
Oh man, this got me even more mad than it did before. Why didn't you just fire Bill Boyle and Sean Lewis right then?
They made like Lewis and Sherm like co-offensive coordinators.
They did.
But they didn't.
That's stupid.
Yeah, they didn't. Yeah.
I think we're playing too nice, man. Like.
I agree.
Flea. We forgot about Flea as well. So he's the assistant head coach. So what is there going to be a change there with the running backs? And who's going to be the new assistant head coach if Flea does move on? So a lot of moving parts, but like I said, I'm of the thought that all of that has been decided. We just haven't seen it yet. We will see it soon because we're close to the conclusion of the season. So I expect most of those moves to be announced either Sunday or Monday.
Hey, how did you guys feel about them allocating 2 positions for the defensive line? Nick Williams, defensive end, and Sal at defensive tackles. How did y'all feel about that move?
I mean, you would like to see one guy do it all, in a sense. All right, you would think you can get one guy to do both. I mean, I can't say I hate it, but I don't say I love it either. I mean, did it really work? Not really. I mean, our defense, I feel like our DNs play better than our D tackles. I will say that.
Yeah.
I feel like can Nick Williams bring some of that fire to our defensive tackles as well? I believe he can because he's just that type of coach. But I mean, it was interesting to see because normally you have one defensive line coach who has both units.
Yeah, the only reason
as well. I thought when Pat Hill went over to the Vikings that they were just going to give the entire defensive line to Nick Williams, and I was surprised to see Sal come on. I mean, he's been a welcome addition. I love Coach Sal, his coaching style and everything like that. But I mean, I think the jury is still out. It's just one season. Like we said, we didn't really get too much production as a collective unit from the interior defensive line, but the defensive ends played a little better. And we'll see going forward this recruiting cycle, what they're going to do with the players that were freshmen this year. Are they going to take a step up? And then are they going to continue to bring in top talent at the defensive tackle and defensive end? I think that's where you have a better read on whether or not it's successful going forward.
Yeah, the only for those that's listening to us, I didn't ask that question because I thought one of them did bad or a poor job. It's just because we spoke earlier, not having special teams coordinator, and you ate up 2 slots on one position group. That's the only reason why I asked that question.
Man, yeah. Ideally, I feel like we bring in an offensive line coach. I mean, to me, that just kind of seems like it would be a logical thing. Like you're teaching gap discipline, responsibility, working together as a unit, right? Like, but I never played the game. So this is where, I mean, you guys got to tell me if I'm just out of left field or not, but shouldn't an offensive line coach, an experienced coach, be able to come out here and also coach special teams? And like, guys, like if someone's just hired as an analyst to oversee the special teams, how does the coaching actually happen? And who's managing it on the sideline on game day? Do you guys have answers to that? I need them.
Well, I thought it was Coach Sal. I saw him in a huddle one time talk about, and he could just been talking to be talking. I thought maybe it was Coach Sal a little bit. I mean, I've read and heard about them splitting that up, the special teams, but I can tell y'all this, y'all correct me if I'm wrong. I've rarely seen big time programs not have an official special team coach. Because as a matter of fact, a lot of coaches get hired a head coach's job from the special teams coordinator position because you deal with, offense, defense. So it shows your versatility. So I was kind of surprised by that. What y'all think about it?
No, I agree. Yeah, for sure.
Brew was a special teams coach at one point. So he has familiarity with the position. Perhaps they move Brew to that role to handle that and the tight ends in 24. That's an option. Like I said, I think the decision has been made. Whatever way, I'm gonna stick to that. I think Coach Rob has a idea where he wants to go with that. But yeah, I do agree with you on that. Typically, the big time programs have a designated special team coach. You look at John Harbaugh, Baltimore Ravens. He was hired as a special team coach. Yep. So yeah, it is important, and it could escalate eventually to a head coaching job somewhere. So I mean, I think it wasn't. Brew was a tight ends coach after that, but shortly after being a tight end / special teams coach, his career began to elevate to until he became the head coach at University of Minnesota. So hopefully Prime realizes that, and he's made a decision. Like we may need to have an official coach at this position, or designate one of our coaches at another position group to also be responsible for the special teams as well. A change has to be made in that area for the 24 season going forward, and I hope he's identified that and made that change.
Thanks.
And I hope so. I hope so, man. It's going to be interesting to see this next week which coaches stay and go, and which players stay and go. All that. It's going to be very interesting now. Tomorrow's a big day. Not only is it Thanksgiving, but Amontre Bradford's cousin, Cam Michael, is announcing his commitment at 3 p.m. I don't know if that's Mountain Time or Eastern Time. Maybe I'll know. What are y'all's thoughts right now on his commitment? I think Georgia's another big player in there. Bird, what's your read on all this?
I'm thinking it's 1-2 Georgia, Colorado. It's looking like leaning towards Georgia. I think he dropped his top 6, but honestly, it's really 3 schools. It's Georgia, Colorado, and Tennessee.
Okay.
Tennessee is going to be one of those ones that's like a sleeper because they were one of the first institutions that bought into him playing on the offensive side of the ball. They offered him as a wide receiver, and they've been adamant that, hey, we want you to play offense. Now, we'll allow you to play defense as well, but we really, believe in your offensive abilities. And most schools have been seeing him as a DB. Now, of course, Colorado, we're looking so we can play both sides of the ball. So I'm thinking we have a shot. We have a legit shot. But I think it's really going to come down to Georgia and Colorado. Like you said, his cousin, Montre Bradford, has already committed. Their high school teammates as well, too. So we're going to see exactly what transpires there. But, I mean, he is unbelievable. I mean, he is one of the most special athletes we have in the country right now. He's like top 80 in the country. He's like a top 5 athlete in the nation as well, top 8 athlete in the nation. So we got a legit shot of getting this young man, but it's going to be us or Georgia, one or two.
And it would be huge, man. It would be huge. Now, Lawrence, I did want to ask you, too, about Brandon Davis-Swain. I see he had his arm in a sling. What happened there?
Yeah, so on the last drive of their last week's playoffs game, West Bloomfield versus Southfield, he was on defense, and he got hurt on the last drive. And Southfield wound up driving the ball 80 yards, scoring a go-ahead touchdown, and now they're going to meet Bryce Underwood's team, Belleville, in the state title game as a result. So it was a tough game, tough loss for Brandon Davis-Swain. He got hurt. They lost the game. It was a controversial play on that last drive as well. I guess a receiver bobbled a catch on the sideline. They caught, ruled it a catch, let the drive, kept going. Crucial first down. But, yeah, he's going to be okay. He's in a cast now. He's still scheduled to come and enroll early in the winter at CU and get going on the 24 season for spring ball here. So that's a positive. He'll be okay to come in and enroll early. But, yeah, that's what happened. He got hurt on the last drive, and they wound up losing a tough game to a very tough Southfield team. Their quarterback, the opposing team's quarterback, is a 24 Kansas commit. So no slouch there, and that's going to be a good matchup here for the state title game this Sunday. Bryce Underwood versus Isaiah Marshall. And, Bryce Underwood is the number one player overall, number one quarterback in the 25 class, going against 24 Kansas commit at quarterback and Isaiah Marshall. So everyone here in Michigan is excited about that. Belleville's the heavy favorite still. They've just ran through all of their opponents in the playoffs so far. So, and then after that, shortly after that, January 6th, we have not Brandon Davis-Swain, but Bryce Underwood's commitment.
Man, well, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Bryce Underwood. I know that we were texting back and forth again earlier today or this week about LSU, that crystal ball that Bryce Underwood got. Weird
it's
look.
Three crystal balls now. So
it's three. Man, that's a weird look for Michigan, man. Are you guys 15 minutes away from the campus?
15 minutes away from the campus. 15 minutes away from the campus, right up the street, Belleville to Ann Arbor. And he has yet to take a visit. From my understanding, as of today, he will not be in attendance for Michigan versus Ohio State. And I think that's the reason why these crystal balls to LSU are coming out, because he's not going to be there for that game. And there was interest. His family expressed interest to be there for the game, but yet he's not going to be there. So I think that's the real reason why these crystal balls to LSU began to come out, because there was either interest initially, and then they just said, okay, we're going to just test the waters. They could be playing a game to perhaps revisit next year, which I think a lot of teams are going to do. So, with this commitment on January 6th, he's still going to have another year. He is going to enroll early wherever he does play in 25. He's going to enroll next December. But, a lot can change in the football season to get, these kids take official visits and things like that. And I don't think he's taken an official visit yet. The visits that he's taken this offseason has been all unofficial. So he's still going to have his official visits to take because he's a class of 25, man. I will keep an eye on that despite wherever he does commit on January 6th to see who's going to try to get him toward the end of next football season. But, yeah, it is looking like he's going to initially commit to LSU. It's just going to be a matter if they can keep him at this point. because CU, they can jump in, bring them on campus. If they have a successful season next year, that could be, that can draw them in. And then obviously Michigan being right in the backyard can swoop in and get them on campus as well. But for now, I will say he is leaning heavy to go to LSU.
Wow. Man, that's crazy. That's crazy to me. You just let a guy like that walk out your backyard like that. But guys, I really appreciate your time. Ra?
You're on mute, bro.
Yeah, you muted.
I know we're going a little bit over. I just want to ask Lawrence
Yeah.
some bird's eye view. Y'all, hey, they off chain on this kind of information. But who is CU looking at? Who do you all believe CU got a chance at getting? For that defensive line. I mean,
yes.
Trench's defensive tackles, not the ones that's already signed, but just they actually got a shot at. Or you may not be aware. It's okay. So
I know we're pretty much a lot to get King Joseph Edwards. He already know where he wants to go. Got numerous crystal balls on him. And he mentioned that he already knows the school he wants to go. He just hasn't announced it yet. So I think it's a lot to get him. And he's a legit 4-star guy coming edge for sure. I think we're going to really build a lot in the transfer portal. There's going to be a lot of trench play guys that are graduates that are going to be in the transfer portal this year for sure. I think that's where a lot of our rebuilding is going to come from. I haven't seen a lot of high school guys right now because a lot of the 24 guys, most of the top 24 guys right now, I mean, they're pretty much already committed, right? Yep. So especially when it comes to the defensive lineman, there's not many. So we get King Joseph Edwards. It's all in a matter of time. I think the rest of the guys that are going to be impact players are going to come for the transfer portal.
I got you.
I would agree as well. As far as the 24 class, Brandon Davis Swain is going to have that ability to play interior defensive line as well. He can play interior and he can play edge rusher. He's versatile like that. He can also play tight end and play it pretty effective. So you're going to have some versatility coming with Brandon Davis Swain. But I was second bird's eye view that a lot of the damage is going to be done. Players that we don't even know about that are still on other teams today, but probably have silently, made it known to the CU staff that they plan on transferring, hitting the portal on transferring to CU. Players that we're going to be shocked to say, oh, wow, this player from this school is coming here. So I think you're going to get a lot of that. I fully expect at the end of the day, CU to wind up with a 20 to 25 high school recruiting class and a top 3 transfer portal class. So obviously if they get a top 3 transfer portal class, the bulk of their players that are going to contribute are going to come from that portal.
Do you know the diagnosis of Davis Swain's injury? Is it broken? I saw him in a cast in the hospital. I'm like, what's the diagnosis?
It's a hand/wrist. He got just balled up in a pile, and so it's not serious. I mean, he'll be okay. Come spring ball. He's going to take a little bit of time, but he'll be okay come spring ball. So
cool.
Man, that's nice then. Okay. And that's what I'm really concerned about. I think 2020, this coming up season is one of the most critical seasons for Coach Prime's Power 5 coaching career because let's be honest about it. Shadur Sanders, he covers up a lot of deficiencies, some holes in offense and defense. But he won't be there, after next year. So this recruiting class will be sophomores, and the one you got previously will be juniors. And I think it's imperative that they, they shore up this team. So that's the only reason why I asked.
Yeah, another guy that I'm excited to see. Again, he's had a year off, but Omar White, he's a guy that can develop into a real dog there in the interior, I think. And I like that. It sucks that our recruiting class right now isn't bigger, but I do like that a lot of the commits that we have right now are centered around that front 7. I think it's very important, and I can't wait to see who else decides, to commit and sign here within the next month or so. It's going to be interesting. But guys, I got to get going, but I really do appreciate your time joining me for this panel. Greatly appreciated. Love to hear everybody's perspectives Lawrence, Bird, Raw. It really means a lot. I do want to give a shout out to everybody in the chat participating. I absolutely love this. Want to get to this other super chat from Bodie saying, "Oh yeah, David, my nominee for the biggest haters is, drum roll please, the CU parking police. Man, they suck. They're the worst." You know, I never got to the point where I didn't pay my fines to where it got booted. It sucks, but you know, they definitely sent the collection after me. And I just said, you know, joke's on you. I got a new car. Got a new car. So you can't ever impound me, you know, but we got to figure out a way. We got to build a lot for these guys. CU Parking Police, they're terrible. And despite what you might believe, or, you know, it is not a targeting thing against the football players. It happens to everybody. And sadly, these parking people, you know, they have no bias. They just look to see who has their car parked illegally, which is terrible, which is dumb. But it is what it is. Guys, I appreciate you coming on here so late. You guys have a wonderful Thanksgiving tomorrow. You know, again, I'm very thankful for all three of you. The fact that we can get on here, chat Buffs, chat football all the time. It really means a lot. Lawrence, I know you don't got your channel rolling, but Rawhide, we'll start with you. You got any videos coming up later this week that the people should know about?
I think on Friday, guys, I'm gonna do a little freestyle, and I think I'm gonna talk a little NFL. But other than that, that's all I really got upcoming.
Oh, man, what about you, Bird?
So hopefully we get a commitment tomorrow with Cam. If so, I have a video for that. If we get
Let's go. Maybe I need to get mine ready.
So hopefully we get that. If we get that, that'll be cool. Other than that, man, just I appreciate you guys always, man. It's dope getting up here. This was fun. I hope we can do it again for sure, man. And like I said, I appreciate y'all,
man. Let's do it. Man, hopefully we pull off the miraculous, man, and just beat Utah. And I guess I'll end with this. I don't care if it's called Daddy Ball. If Shador plays, man, break those records, baby. We still need 2 more passing touchdowns. I absolutely care about the records. It's the second thing that I care most about outside the wins this year. Get those records. Get Zay to 1,000 yards. Let's just have some things to enjoy as we get into the offseason, right, guys?
For sure.
Thanks.
That's right.
All right, guys. Appreciate it as always. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. All the gentlemen's accounts are in the description of my video. And as always, everybody, Go Buffs.
Go Buffs.
Let's go, Buffs.